Welcome back. We move on now to a business perspective with Mr. George Etomi. Thank you for talking to us.
You're welcome.
Let's start with an assessment of the judiciary in 2017, especially from a business perspective. How well would you say that sector fared?
My honest assessment is that the judiciary did not contribute so much to the development in the business sector as it did in the political sphere. And that's not too strange because of the way the court system is structured. The priority is given to political cases, then they now look at criminal cases, then before they get to civil cases, which is a bit unfortunate because the live stream of business is quick dispute resolution. But notwithstanding this assessment, I believe in 2018, because of obviously the proactive nature of the current Chief Justice is looking at how the entire judiciary works, we're going to see a lot of activity in the business areas. And I recall very clearly, for example, when he gave a practice directive to the effect that judges should give effect to arbitration clauses in agreements and not hold business back by insisting on delving into issues that are already covered by arbitration clauses. This was a very welcome development because if you look at the way business operates, many business people prefer mediation and arbitral processes for dispute resolution instead of going through the long haul of court cases. Now, with the introduction of the multi-door courts, judiciaries like Lagos, quite active, Rivers State to a lesser degree, have helped businesses grow in the area of dispute resolution because of their ability to, in the minimum, advise you what you should do when there's a dispute. And it is something we really appreciate. Now, the other thing I'd also like to see would be the training activities for judges to be increased in those specialized areas. I mean, I know power sector that I'm familiar with, that there are lots of training programs to get judges familiar with those areas. We need more and more in other sectors. Mining, telecoms, agriculture, and all that. Because as the economy expands, you need our judges to be abreast with the latest developments in how you resolve all the issues that come, so that basic terminologies don't even begin to create problems.
The trainings that you talked about for judges, where does the responsibility for getting the trainings lie?
Largely with the National Judicial Institute. Yeah, that's really where it lies. And I know that they're up and doing. I mean, they have first-class facilities in Abuja, but all training cannot be centralized. So we have to look at programs that enable judges not to travel too far away from their jurisdictions before they can get training. But there must be a conscious effort at continuous training of judges in different areas. The judiciary themselves, I know many of them have divisions and the commercial divisions, although they tend to rotate judges. But I think we should quickly settle down to the fact that you must begin to perhaps look at commercial divisions in which judges are almost exclusively allowed to train themselves in commercial law areas. And the reason I say that is that once a dispute is unresolved before a judge is transferred, you run the danger of that case starting de novo. And we've seen that happen in so many cases. Whilst in other areas of human endeavor, you can afford it. In business, you can't afford it. And I know that it's a deterrent to investments when they feel that the judicial system is a bit uncertain. And that's one of the clouds that hover around the attraction of businesses to Nigeria. So we just need to look at that. And I was going to say that, yes, you can look at the judiciary, but we can't turn our eyes to the profession, the legal profession itself, because a lot of our judges are chosen out of lawyers anyway. But a lot of training opportunities, training initiatives should also come from the bar, whether it's through the bar associations or through other specialized bodies, whether be it the bankers body that deals with banking, stock exchange, capital markets, and solicitors and all those things, so that they too can generate, sector-specific training programs and then invite judges to attend them. I know that happens a lot. Already, as things stand today, our judges are overworked. And on the subject of being overworked, we need to give them very conducive atmosphere. The judiciary, I just really feel sorry. They're still writing in longhand, apart from a few courts in some states. Many of them, it's sheer inconvenience. The other day I went for the body of benches meeting. One of the chief judges of one of the states was complaining bitterly about how allocations to them were not coming. And many of them were having to dip into their pockets to run their offices. Now, that's not good. But what many people do not understand is that if you do this sort of a thing and it becomes notorious that your judges are not keeping pace with what's going on, no business will come there. And even within Nigeria today, when we are pushing for arbitrations to hold in Nigeria, many lawyers who draft agreements, they are very picky about where they allow the arbitrations to go to. Lagos is a favorite destination. Uyo, I know, is one. And that's because of the perception that those guys are taking the extra effort to make their place investor-friendly. And that, I think, should be the focus for 2018.
What about the lawyers, talking about the young ones now, because I know that you mentor some of them. What are the job opportunities? Do you see any for them in year 2018? I do. As you know very well, I have always told young lawyers that the future belongs to those who are willing to specialize. Everybody, as I'm sure you know by now, robots will begin to do basic legal advice. And already, if we want to do certain basic things in law, like do a will, do a land transaction and all that, you just go get precedents everywhere now. You don't even need to pay anybody, standard. And I'm sure you read recently, they said Dubai is trying to eliminate middlemen from certain classes of business, and lawyers are one of those middlemen. And also the future will always belong to lawyers who are willing to specialize. That's where the money is, that's where the knowledge is, and you can't cut corners. We have concerns, for example. I'm on the body of benchers. We're churning out like 8,000 lawyers a year, and we were just wondering, where do these guys go to? And all that. I can't answer that, but I know that there will be room for those of them who are willing to take the long, winding, and seemingly difficult road to specialization, because they are the ones that will be sought after. Because as you can see, law firms are expanding. We're beginning to approach the 100-man law firm mark in Nigeria. It can only get better. And once that begins to happen, the young lawyers will get an opportunity to be groomed by those who have done it before, who know what they're doing, and who can actually role model properly for them. And I can foresee, whether it's government, whether it's ministries, department, and agencies, whether it's a private sector, international agencies, and all that, ever expanding need for business law practitioners. And I'm happy in that regard that the NBA has been on top of its game through the section on business law in creating awareness of the new frontiers, new growth areas, opportunities here. And let's not forget, Africa should ideally be the oyster for the average Nigerian lawyer. So if we get our act together, you'll be able to ply your trade across the continent once those barriers come down. Those are our interviews for this week, and that's our program. Thank you for tuning in. Most of the courts across the country will come alive on Monday, the 8th of January, and we'll be sure to bring you the interesting cases from there in subsequent episodes of the program. So be sure to keep a date with us next time. I'm Shola Shuyeli.